Good morning and welcome everyone to this training. I don't know if everyone is here. Maybe we can just spend like 2 minutes to do a quick head count to just ensure we have everyone. So I just want to run through the list as usual. If you hear the name of your organization, just carry up your hand. Then you put it down so that we can be sure of who is attending. Frida, please confirm if I'm audible.
Good morning. Otieno, you are audible.
I'll kindly request that we do self introduction in the chat area. Just mention your name and the organization that you work in for purposes of our documentation for this training. Yeah, so I'll just request all of us to do self introduction in the chat area. Other than that, I think we are set to begin this orientation. I would call it reorientation because remember we had covered this in our last webinar, how to set up a Dockerized IIT model for TaifaCare powered by Kenya EMR. So maybe for those who missed that, I'll just provide a bit of context why this is important. So we are all aware that Kenya EMR incorporates machine learning capabilities to predict different patient outcomes. So far, we have two models that are being that are incorporated in the Kenya EMR. So that is the prediction for interruption in treatment for patients that are on care. And also we have the prediction for clients that are HIV are at HIV risk. This is for patients visiting the HTS. So for purposes of this training, we realize that all these models require a lot of computational power, and this kind of puts a bit of stress in the system resources. And we have received a report that this sometimes slows down the performance of the EMR across different facilities. So one way to address this is to isolate the model outside the Kenya EMR. So we've started with the IIT model, which I think required a lot of heavy processing. So now we have it in a containerized version in the Docker that then you can install separately and have it execute outside the EMR. That kind of improves its performance as a model and also ensures that EMR is not compromised performance-wise. So it is a good way to start if you look at it. So our objective is to ensure that you are aware of this and you are able to install this model in the Docker, and you're able to set it up so that it can help in the local clinical decision making at the facility, but also ensure that this data is transmitted upwards to the national dashboards. So far, we haven't seen a lot of data coming in, and that only points to one thing. Either the configurations were not done right across the facilities that are running the latest version of Kenya EMR, or there was no proper capacity to be able to do this. So this training provides that opportunity and that platform for us to be able to know how to properly set up this and ensure that it is well configured for this data to be transmitted to the national dashboard. So with that background, today we are having Kennedy Vutu taking us through how to install this and how it integrates with the Kenya EMR. So I think you just need to be attentive so that we learn how to do this in a proper way. Kennedy will be backed up by Chester from Palladium again. So in case we have any questions, let us use the Q&A section of this training, where we'll be able to respond to various questions that are coming from you. If you have any specific question, I'll request that we let the facilitators conclude, then we can open it up for Q&A. Yeah, so with that, I think we'll just go straight to the orientation. So I'll invite my colleague Kennedy to just start us off. Kennedy, if you are ready, feel free to just start us off. Thank you.
But you know, confirm you can hear me. I can't hear anyone.
You are audible. Go to your audible. Proceed.
Thank you. This is going to be a very short session because there are few steps into configuring IIT on Docker. So you only need the SOP and the resources. So I'll share my screen. Are you able to see the SOP? So we have the instructions here, and other than the SOP, we have the package that can be downloaded using this link. I'll just have the link on my browser so that you guys can see. So when you click on that link, it will take you to the GitHub page for Palladium Hub, where the package is being hosted. So when you click on that link, or you can copy and paste on your browser, you'll be able to access this. So to download the package under assets, you just click on the package name, the zipped link. When you click on it, it will start the download process. As you can see here, I'd already downloaded mine, so it's just for demo purposes. So after download, what you'll be able to have is this. This is what you're going to download. So from the SOP, I just want us to use the SOP. Just follow the instructions from the SOP. You download. After download the package, what you need to do is to unzip it, and then you confirm the contents of the directory. So I will unzip mine just step by step. Just right click and then extract here. I'll be able to have my directory here. Confirm that inside the installed Open14, I have the Docker directory, the SQL, the readme.txt, and the setup script.sh, which will execute to do the Docker configuration. So those are what you need. So after extraction, what you need to do is to access the IIT directory, which is which contains a JSON file that will confirm the settings for the OpenMRS database, and the username and password confirm that are correct, and the URL for MySQL is also correct. So to do that, we can open our terminal. Let me just terminal here. So I will access the Docker directory. Inside the directory, when you LL, you'll see ML. When you cd to ML, you'll be able to to find IIT directory, cd to the directory where you'll be able to find the JSON file. So you can either use Nano or gedit, depending on the server type, if it's a server or a desktop installation, you can use either. So the most common one that we are using is gedit. So we'll open the JSON file to confirm whether what I have is conformed to my installation for Kenya EMR. So I will do sudo gedit, and then I will enter my password, the server password. Are you able to see this? Ama ni Dockerized control control plus, huh? Control, huh? Are you able to see this? Kadogo sana. View. Are you able to see? So you confirm the MySQL URL. These are the default ones, the port that is being used. The MySQL database, confirm that you are pointing to the right database, the username, and password for the root user in MySQL. So you'll have to confirm that. If in case you have a different setup and credentials, kindly update before you continue with the installation. So after confirming that, from our SOP, what we need to do, we need to run the setup script. So this will install the Docker image and the required files for the IIT setup to work. So we'll be able to run this setup script so that we can continue with the installation. So that was our setup script. So we'll execute the setup script to configure the Docker. So sudo sh setup. So when it runs successfully, Kimaliza will notify you after pulling all the required files and doing the configurations in the backend. So you wait for this particular session to complete. What you need to know that you need to be online. You must have internet connection for this process to run successfully. So ensure that you have stable internet connection. So if your installation is successful, you'll able to see what we have on my screen. The installation completed successfully. If any case not successful, you'll be able to get the error message that will inform you the reason why it hasn't gone successfully. So if you have challenges, kindly reach out to our service desk team. You'll be able to get support if in case you have challenges with the configs for this. But if you have everything set up well, you have a stable internet connectivity, you should be able to install this successfully. So after this, from our SOP, we'll be able to confirm from the logs, if any case our setup went on successfully. So to do that, first we'll confirm our container name, because that is what we are going to use to check the logs for. Remember, you can have several instances on the Docker. So just get the specific container name or ID to use for checking the logs. To do that, we use sudo docker ps -x. So this will show all the containers you have in your Docker instance. And remember, this procedure needs Docker already installed. So if in case you have a server that doesn't have a Docker, ensure you install Docker first. It's the same process of installing Docker while installing the WAPI. So that procedure is the same, and you can get the link from the Docker, the WAPI SOP, how to install Docker. But for sites that are already running and they always use WAPI, definitely they have Docker installed. So you just go ahead with the procedure of setting up IIT. So from our Docker, we have two containers, one for the WAPI and the one that we've set up for IIT. So I'll get the container ID. I think this will be able to help you check on the logs. And from our SOP, the script to do that, we do sudo docker logs, and then we have our container ID. So when you press enter, you should be able to see that our server started successfully and waiting for applications to start up. So the application startup is complete, and Rubicon is running on that particular port. So we've confirmed that our model is running well. So we can quit. So if in the case your model is not running, you can always start it by using, let me just quit that, and then you can start the model by typing sudo docker start, and then the container ID. So when you do this, this will be able to start the model, if in case the model wasn't running. Okay. Yes, so that is all about setting up the IIT on Docker. What we are going to do is now to do the configurations on our global properties in Kenya EMR. So we have around 5 global properties that you need to ensure that are set up correctly for this to work. Okay. So I'll log into my SQL to my local instance, the one that I'm using. I hope it's running. Okay, nice. So you need to have administrative rights for you to access so we'll go to legacy and main UI. Then we go to advanced settings. So this is where we have our global properties settings. So let me hapo sawa. Are we good? Okay, so we have 5 main global properties to configure and ensure that they are set up well. So there are quite a number of properties here. So the easiest is to search. So I will click Control F, and then I search for the first one. The first one is Kenya Yemar ML dot IITML dot feature. So as you type, it searches for the global property, and as you can see, we only have one, Kenya Yemar ml.iitml.feature.enabled. So dot enabled. Okay, so this particular global property needs to be set up to true for our model to work. So from false, we change this to true.
Excuse me, Oguto, I don't know if it was on my end, but I can't see the settings that you are talking about. I don't know if everyone else is able to see. Now we can see.
Yes. So this one, I was just searching and for the global property. This is the first one, Kenya Yemar ml.iit ml.feature.enabled. So this property value needs to be set to true from false. So I would want to do the 5 so that we save and we continue from there. It's highlighted. Oh, it's out of the screen. I'm going to see it now. Oh, now it's fine. I think I'll work with a minimized browser for all of us to see. Thanks for that, Bernard. So the second one is Kenya Yemar machine.iit.learning.use API. I hope all of us are able to see this. Okay, so this particular property value also set it to true. I hope you are together. The third one is Kenya Yemar.iit.machine.learning.API password. API password. Just confirm that the password we have here is for the OpenMRS user, the admin user. So if in any case you changed the default ones, kindly ensure you update the same on this particular property. Otherwise, the model will not be able to work as anticipated or as expected. So mine, by default, I didn't change. This is my local setup. So ensure you have the correct password. The same to username. So API username. So mine has the default settings, the default username. So if in any case you changed this and you have a different administrator in your setup, kindly ensure the same is updated for IIT to work. The third one, no, the fifth one. The fifth one is kenyamar.iit.machine.learning.API URL. This is the default one, the default URL that comes pre-configured when you do the installation. So you don't need to do any particular changes on this unless your setup for IIT is different with the standard one that we have. Okay, so just confirm that the API URL points to the default one, or depending on how you set up your environment, ensure it points to the correct URL. So I think those are the 5 main global properties that you must ensure that are set up correctly. So that is kenyamar, ml.iit, ml.feature.enabled, kenyamar.iit.machinelearning.learning.use API password, .api URL, and .api username. There are 5. Up to that point, is there any question? If there's none, then we can go to back to our we'll be able to save this. I almost forgot to save the changes. So after saving the changes, we can go back home, and then we access our machine learning module to continue. So we can generate our scores after doing the setup. I don't need to restart MySQL or Tomcat. Let's just go to home. Go to home. Go to home, and then we have our machine learning module here. When you click on the machine learning module, click on synchronize data. And then from here, you should be able to generate patient response because it's now ready. So you can generate the patient scores and then update the summary up here. So when you click on generate patient scores, it will scan the DB for the response. It will give you the total number of records to be scanned, that is 614. So from there, it will be able to pick the risk categories or the risk scores for the eligible patients. So that is all on configuration and setting up of IIT risk scores on Docker. Thank you. I welcome my co-facilitator. In any case, he has something to add. Let's start. If you have anything to add before we have the Q&A session.
There's okay, on the end, just recall before you run the IIT risk course, just ensure that you have already run the DWAP ETL. The DWAP ETL tables in Kenyamar, just to update them so that you get the latest risk course.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I forgot that, and we'll be able to update that on the SOP because it missed out. But we'll be able to update and share the same. Because even mine, I had not updated the ETLs. This is my test instance, so I've been working on some other stuff, using it for demo purposes. But before you run the generate patient risk course, ensure you run your ETLs, you recreate ETLs to get the latest data from the production database that is OpenMRS. So the response are being picked from the ETLs. Thanks, Chester, for that. I think it's over for me. Back to you, Bernard.
Thanks. So would you like to show how to refresh the ETLs in the new interface, just in case maybe some of us are not aware?
Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back home. But for running with ETL, I think this is still updating. Okay, nice. So from here, if you want to run the ETLs from the UI, you come to NMR modules here, and then from the administration, just click on administration here. So under administration, we have ETL administration here. So under ETL administration, we have operations that you can undertake. So you can refresh the tables from here. If you want to refresh the work tables, just click on this, and then the process starts. So this will happen to the other ETLs. So that is the process. I think that's clear to everyone, unless there's anything. Thank you. So when it completes, it will inform you that refresh is done, and give you a green highlight that the process of ETL refresh is complete. Asante.
Right. Thank you, Bruce, for that. You can mute. Your background is pretty busy. I don't know, Frida, can see your hands up. You want to add something or make a comment?
Yes, maybe you're good to can mute first. Yes, so my request was, now that we're here at the ETL, I know we also have a couple of partners here who are supporting facilities that are using Kenyamara's facility-wide. So it would be good. I know there's been a confusion of which exactly, how to refresh the facility-wide tables. Ogutu, maybe you can also show hapa kwa ETL exactly what they're supposed to, which one exactly they're supposed to click on if they're refreshing the facility-wide tables. Achana, was I audible?
Yes, very much audible. I muted, so
Okay,
I was talking muted. So for that, while this is still running, then I can use our online instance to demonstrate on how to refresh the facility wide. Very quickly, Let me just wait for it to load. My laptop has been running 1,001 things. So to refresh facility-wide under administration, come to ETL administration, and then under ETL operations, we have recreate facility-wide tables. So when you click on these and say yes, you see what happens. It tells you that the ETLs have been successfully created and refreshed. So the status, the time, start time and end time for the process will also be shown. So that is how to run the ETL. So you can run, you can create, you can refresh tables. Okay, so you will see the ones for facility wide here done today. So it tells you start time and end time of the process. So you can always monitor how long it takes for your tables to refresh. Thank you.
Right, thanks. Thank you, Gutu. I think that answers Frida's question on how to run the ETLs for the facility-wide. I think it's simple and self-explanatory. So I think I'll just open it up for questions. If anyone has questions or you need further clarity on any area. I've seen there are questions that have already been responded to in the chat. But should you have a question, maybe you could just go ahead and and ask. So for instance, I think we can start with Paul Minor. Paul, unmute and proceed.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to ask something about IIT. Some of our facilities have been experiencing an issue with the IIT scores being generated like daily, and that is not what you have set up. So some of the facility had set up the generate IIT ML predictions to like 30 days automatically. But at times you find it is automatically, I don't know how, but it changes from 30 days and it puts it to 1 day or even 1 minute. So you find like one patient has like 1,000 IIT scores in a day. So some of our patients in the facility that we support, if you go to their visits, you will find the IIT score. He or she has like 400 pages because of the IIT score. So now that we are dockerizing these, does that do we like some of the facilities we were forced to put off the generate ML prediction to not being automatic because of that issue? So do we put it off totally now that we have been shown how to do this, or do we still leave it to be automatic?
Yeah, thank you for that. I hope Gutu or Chester, you've noted that question from Minor. Let's take another question. Anyone else with the question? Yes, Nabel. Please unmute and proceed.
Okay, thanks, Bernard. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Okay, so mine is not a question, just a concern. We've used Docker for a few things severally. So mine is just around the question of resource utilization, especially if we are doing this on cloud. Docker kind of still causes or creates some kind of performance overhead. So I'm not sure the rate at which this will improve the the overhead that we used to have before by using Docker, because Docker on its own already consumes a considerable amount of resources. So I just needed maybe for you to chime in or maybe look into it so that we can get a rough figure or an estimate of how less resource effective Docker is in comparison to just leaving this as is on Kenya EMR. Okay, able to.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Noble. I hope that has been taken note of. Let's take a few more. Yes, Njoka, kindly unmute and proceed. Njoka, unmute and proceed.
Good afternoon. I hope you can hear me, Bernard.
Yes, yes.
Sure. So I just wanted to confirm if it is safe to do this upgrade even when the clinic is running, or probably we need to do this when the clinic is not busy, and especially when synchronizing the machine learning IIT scores, because previously when we used to do that, the system would freeze. So I don't know what your experience or advice would be with regards to when to effectively do this process. Thank you.
Right. We have taken note of that. Last one, then we can respond. We have Joseph Kimani. Please unmute and proceed.
So good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me. So mine was, I was seeking clarity on if it's possible to have a single setup of this IIT that would be referenced by other EMRs. Like, for example, I have my different EMRs on cloud. Would it be possible to have one of my VMs to run this Docker that would be referenced by the other EMRs such that so that the issue of resources may be mitigated?
Okay. I think let's pause after that. Or you have additional questions, Kimani?
Not an additional. Well, I was audible, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if maybe Chester, you want to take up some of the questions.
Yes, the first on the question about the generation of the IT risk scores. So basically, remember there's a schedule for generate IT ML predictions, which you configure for it to generate at the end of the day or after a couple of days. So that one still works accordingly, but also in a case of scenario where you want also to generate on your own, then you can use the generate. You can generate your manually through the process that Ogoto has clarified. So there isn't any big difference. You can use the scheduler or use what Ogoto has clarified. Thank you.
Yeah, the next question was from Nabel. Nabel was wondering how resource effective this approach is, given that Docker itself also consumes resources. So it's wondering, like, in terms of numbers, how resource effective is this approach different from having the IIT model run within the EMR?
Okay, it is, we did analysis. So when you're generating using the Docker, it takes less than 2 seconds. But now when you're generating using the older model, it takes a long period of time. But the reason why we moved also to the Dockerized is because it has its improved version. And also it is much faster in terms of generations of the the risk scores, and it doesn't take a long period of time, so there isn't any lagging or waiting behind. So at the end of the day, having it separate makes it easier in terms of the generation of the risk scores. Thank you.
Yes, I think, Nobel, if I hear just right, the model itself has been improved, the one that is in the Docker version. So the model has been improved for speed of execution and also accuracy. So I think that answers Nabel. Then Joka was wondering if this is an operation that can be carried out during the active hours of the facility, or is it something that can be done a bit late, maybe when the facility workload is reduced? I think it's just seeking for an advice.
On that, as you realize, when I was doing the installation, my server was running, so it didn't interfere with the normal operation of the server. So you can just do it even while the server is still, the guys are still working. What maybe you might not be able to do is that times you can refresh ETL tables. Those are times it's resource intensive and it can interfere with the operation of the system. So, but the setting up, you can just set up even when guys are working. Thanks. And I also saw Rafi ask about mapping of facilities to pull ML scores. Yes, that must still be done for them to pull the risk scores. Thank you.
All right, I think that is clear. The last one was, I think, a suggestion from Kimani, which could be some enhancement, where he suggested if we could have a global instance that then takes care of all of the EMR facilities, so that instance can be the one that is executing the model from all other EMR instances. So I don't know, maybe if you have a comment on that, Chester, in terms of enhancement or maybe future plans.
I think moving forward, we'll be using the IIT model. There's also future enhancements. To enhance the model, to have also other new features like the RTC feature that's going to be implemented in the future. So I think it's much better. It's much better to use it's much better to continue using the IT model that is Dockerized, because it is going to be enhanced in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Chester. I think Imani's question was more on in the future, do you think is something that can be, the model can be hosted in a single instance? Then all the facilities, let's say if I have like 50 facilities, I only have a single instance of the Docker IIT model, let's say at in one of my servers, then it takes data from across all my 50 sites, then it gives me per facility in terms of the analysis, the patient IIT analysis. Is it something that is doable in the seeable future? Might is out of sync?
Yes, it is. It's actually possible, where you have, because it's the same IT model and you're using the same resources. So it's actually that is actually 100% possible. So you're using the same model, and so you just set up the configurations the way it is. The only difference is that the API inference, you inference where you have set up the IT, that is the IP, you provide the IP configuration. So yes, it works. There's no problem with that. It actually works when you're doing it like that. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, thanks. I can see Geoffrey Nyabuto's hand. I think we can have that and a couple more. Geoffrey, please unmute and proceed.
Yeah, thanks, Bernard, and good afternoon, Tim. So sorry I joined a bit late, and as Chester was responding to the questions that were being raised, I had a number of concerns, which I also thought it was wise for me to air them so that we can be able to get a solution. Number one of the things that I was asking myself, and sorry I joined late, maybe this might have been answered, is what problem are we solving? So are we solving an operational problem, or are we solving like a performance issue? For example, I had Chester respond and say that the new way of deploying this model will increase in terms of, will reduce the time it runs whenever you want to generate the IIT scores. So what was the previous time, and what is the current, because you mentioned like it is currently now taking 2 seconds to give out some output. So previously, what was it taking? How long was it taking to come up with this? Then in terms of performance, what if we pick the same model and deploy it in the previous environment? Will it perform poorer, or the performance is just going to be the same? So that as IPs, as we go out and start the configuration, I'm thinking that it would be good for us to know exactly why we are doing this. If it's about time, then that is very important, because as you communicate even with the facilities, you let them know that the previous one was doing this one is doing this, but in terms of performance, the accuracy that the previous model was generating, or the new model, if it was deployed in the previous environment, the performance ideally is going to be the same. Then also we look at the resources. I have had one of us asking a very key question, which Chester has responded that it will be possible, now that we are moving to Docker, how do we compare resources needed to deploy that model using the Docker environment as compared to the previous environment? Is there any significant change? Or is it just the same, we are going to operate on the same resource, and that is not going to overstretch the cloud servers that we could be having. That's what I had, Ben. I'm sorry in case the questions had been responded to, because I joined a bit late. Thank you.
All right, no worries, Geoffrey. Yeah, I think part of that question was answered when we started, but I'll just maybe allow Chester to provide more clarity in terms of the exact problem that we are resolving with the new deployment model as opposed to how it was back then. Chester, you may just want to reiterate for the benefit of Geoffrey.
Okay, so based on the model, it's an improved model. So you can see, if you look at the speed in terms of generation of the response, it is faster, and also it's also easy if you are going to add other new features in the machine learning model. So there's other new features that are going to be added in the future. And with that, instead of using the older model and use the current way, it is much easier. You can also add new features in the model, like other machine learning models that you want to add for it to actually function. It does not take a lot of resources. It just works as the same standards of the Docker, where we say the RAM minimum is 8 GB, but we recommend 16 GB RAM and above, which is cuts in across all the facilities. So it doesn't take a lot of resources, as most people might think it takes. Does not take a lot of resources, and it is way faster, and it's also really easy to configure compared to the other models, and that's why we have moved to the new model. Thank you.
Thank you, Chester. Yeah, so I can't see any additional hands, so I'll assume we are good at that point.
Ben, can I make the last comment, please, if you allow me?
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe something we may not be able to answer or work on it now, but maybe something that we may need to consider in the future, especially on these ML models that we are developing. It is that aspect of explainability. We would like to understand, for example, if a certain client was marked at a high risk of missing an appointment, it was good for us to understand as the IPs or as the counties, why that client was marked as an high risk, so that we can be able to do targeted intervention. Sometimes there are so many reasons as to why the client was marked as high risk. And if we don't know exactly what might have led to that, sometimes we end up giving blanket interventions that may not be able to work well. So if maybe in future releases we can have that incorporated, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I think we have taken note of that, so that if a client is marked as high risk, then there could be a footnote to say what is that variable that made that patient be termed as high risk. So I think that's understood. We have taken note of that. Alvin, please unmute and proceed.
Hi, Bernard. Confirm that I'm audible.
Yes, yes.
So I have a couple of questions for the teams. This will reverse to the teams who are deploying the sites via the cloud. Because I agree with you, having a central deployed model, I think would work very well for the cloud instances. So I want to find out the possibility that your team has to deploy a central model that is hosted by your team, and then for the rest of the instances that are deployed in the cloud could basically point to that instance, so that we can have some savings in terms of resource utilization. And as you said, I think it's faster now, so that shouldn't really be a problem for the rest of the teams. Second part of the question, Frida, you mentioned something about the need to have the DWAPI ETLs refreshed at some point. I think you might need to clarify whether that is a requirement, and how would a user know or be notified that you need to refresh your DWAPI ETLs before you can get the synchronization process running. And then if that is a requirement for the synchronization process to be done, then why don't we have that automated during synchronization, so that it does not have to be triggered manually by any user? I think that is a couple of questions that I have for the team.
Right. I don't know, just if you want to take a stab at that question.
Okay, what thing I can clarify, we can look in the future in terms of having a centralized way to be deployed in a centralized location, and then the other facilities will just have an API endpoint, and then they call the API endpoint. But also the drawback with that also is the internet connectivity. So I think also we need to consider if you're looking at that in the sites, and you are pulling, you're generating race scores, how well is the internet connectivity for the various facilities? So it's something you can be looked at in the future, but also we also have to have the balance of the equation in that area in terms of the network connectivity. And that's why we deployed the IT model locally, but we can also consider that in the future. Thank you.
Yes, I would like.
So can I?
Yes, proceed,
yeah, I get what Just is saying. But the cloud sites that are currently running have full access to internet through it, and I think this gives some leeway to have mixed type of deployment for sites. So for sites that are already having internet connectivity, and the connectivity is good enough to support the process, that I think it could be considered to have a central deployed model where they could point these instances to. But for those that do not have internet connectivity, I think they could take a different approach. So I think that would work best for the sites that are currently running via the cloud. And since this already requires point to a specific API, then maybe you could think about provisioning that for us so that you can commence with deployment for these sites.
Yeah, I think an agreement. I think that is a possibility for the cloud sites that are that don't have the problem of internet. Maybe just you and Alvin might want to have a meeting behind the tent so that you can figure out how that model can work, especially for the cloud sites. Okay. Yeah, type check. I think we may want to start the process of closing our meeting. But before that, there's one thing I think that Chester, you want to clarify to the team. This is about the data transmission for IIT. Does it transmit through the scheduler or does it transmit data through the WAPI? Because as you are aware, the WAPI transmits data in most cases once a month. But then I think there is need for more frequent transmission of this data upwards. Also in light of some of the activities that are coming up, I think there'll be some pressure to have the data reflecting at the national level. So you may want to explain whether partners will need to set the scheduler so that this data can be transmitted more frequently, like every day, just like what we have in the case surveillance, or must it wait for the DWAPI transmission that happens on a monthly basis?
Okay. As per now, we are using DWAPI. So the IIT risk scores are transmitted through DWAPI. But I think if in the future there's any announcements to transmit through like a scheduler, we'll announce on that one. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that needed to be very clear because that means facilities will be required to upload the WAPI almost every 2 days or on a daily basis. So I think that is now clear. In the future, that data can be transmitted through the schedulers, but for now, it has to be transmitted using the WAPI. So that means for all the partners, you need to work with the facilities to transmit this data more frequently because it is also needed at the national level. So I don't know if there is any additional comment from the Palladium team. We have Frida, Marianne, and Bernard Ajuan. Should you have any comment, please unmute and proceed as we close the meeting.
Hi, Otieno. Good afternoon, everyone. I don't have any comment from my side. I'm glad my partners were able to join. So I think, I don't know if Otieno had mentioned, but there's a request that if you can set up the facility so that by Tuesday next week, we start seeing data in the dashboards, then that would really be good. If you have any additional facilities that you'd like to also upgrade to the latest version of the EMR, I think that should be okay. So you can just go ahead and upgrade, but also just ensure that you also set up the IIT model as shown today. Back to you, Tim.
Yeah, thank you, Frida. Miriam?
Yeah, thank you, Otieno. Thank you, Tim, for joining this training. Like Frida had said, this is a high-level ask that we need you guys to actually configure and install this in all your facilities that are using 1932 and ensure that we're actually transmitting the data every 2 or 3 days for visibility purposes. In case you run into any problems or you need support,